So, I've got a long list of tabletop RPGs to review, two of which will come at 1,000 subs and another at 5,000. Which ones? These two. My friends are demanding I review these, but it's up to you when I do so. So, I guess this is to ask y'all to share this video. Good luck! So, what are we talking about this time? A childhood love of mine, Transformers. This game is made by the same company that made the Power Rangers role-playing game, and the one that will inevitably come. God have mercy on my soul. To create a character, it follows the same route as Power Rangers and G.I. Joe, but with more of a focus on freedom. It goes back to what Renegade is good at. No classes. Instead, you pick a background and spend points to build an Autobot, Decepticon, or Traitor, which can be traitorous to either side. There's also a third faction, but that depends on the Transformers setting. I started with Armada, so I remember the minicons. Now, this is fantastic. I love this. But this has a lot more steps to it. Luckily, the book itself actually gives a step-by-step description of how to build a character. First, you pick what's essentially your background or influence. These give you a single perk. Let's go over them. Bureaucrat, which gives you a boost to talking skills. Cube Players, which is a Cybertronian sports ball player. Experiment, which is a custom background option. Former Senator. God, I hate politicians. Gladiator, which is kind of odd for an Autobot given they're builders by their nature. Hunter, which is a similar influence. Inventor, which gets a boost to building things using what you make. Machinist, which can fix items and even other Transformers. Racer. I legit nearly said racist here. Scavenger, who's essentially my cousin Mike. Security, because even Titans need bodyguards, apparently. And War Veteran, which is sort of everyone in this setting. It goes into hang-ups, which lets you choose, but recommend some. These are required flaws in your character. Some can make your character gruff and moody, while others innocent and oblivious. Now we go into Origin, which is what you transform into. This is a weird one for me because whether they become cars on Cybertron or not is all dependent on this series. They were cars in the flashbacks on Armada. So, I don't know. These origins pick out your starting skill boost, your skills, and your skills you can know, how much HP you start with, and your starting languages. The list provided are Champion, which can be a sports champ or military champ, Cutter, which focuses on aquatic situations, Lookout, which is built like a sniper, it looks like. Neat. Monolith, which are your heavy units like Ironhide or the Big O himself. Outriders look like they're designed to explore new locations. Rainmakers are machines of warfare. Seekers are Sky Scouts and Hunter Killers. And supports are essentially construction bots that double as heavy Earthbreakers. Now we get to actual level parts. These are fairly open, thank God, compared to the Power Rangers game. This part legit seems like an afterthought that was tacked on because they realized they did it in G.I. Joe and Power Rangers. There are 7 different roles, each one gives different abilities that will work best with specific origins, but they are not near as required as the Power Rangers made theirs. And one of these actually uses minicons from Armada too. I'm glad I'm not the only one that remembers that from the early 2000s. Analyst can be your sniper or hacker, field commander is essentially a buffer, gunner is obvious, mode master can take multiple options for multiple transformations or use minicons. Scientists can be doctors or buffer debuffers, scout is a sniper and stealth, and warrior is the absolute tank. 20 levels, just like in D&D, which is probably because Hasbro owns a license to this game, and Renegade was given permission to use these products. And because Hasbro is afraid to step any way out of line, it has to match D&D. Even though this game would legit be better without levels, but could be boosted with those keys from the Cybertron series. Does anyone remember that? I think I still have a couple of those things in a box somewhere. Maybe. Not sure. Now, all these things allow you to custom make your own Transformers with your own backstory and your own personality. It doesn't work like Power Rangers where it says, oh, you took this class, well, you're useless if you don't take this background. And you now have to have this robot form and weapon. You could combine Machinist Influence, who only wants to build bigger and better things, take the Rainmaker origin as you found yourself needing to focus on warfare to survive, but being a mode master as you don't like limiting yourself to a single transformation. Now, some combos do work best with one another, but it's not near required, and that's what I like. We haven't even gone into the skills and ability points you can spend. Everything you can choose unlocks or boosts some skills, and it recommends certain point spending for each one, but developer recommendations are almost always terrible, so don't follow those. Now, like I've stated, I do have some negatives, and like with the Power Rangers game, it's the level classes. Each class seems to focus on a specific build in mind, but in this case it doesn't force a build near as much. It still feels forced on, given it could easily be changed for, hey, this many experience points to boost this thing, like how Wrath and Glory or a Renegade game called, I don't know if you ever heard of it. What's it called again? Oh, right. Vampire the Masquerade. Getting rid of these classes and level parts would allow the game to be entirely open in its progressive system, making a character become what you want and adapt as you advance. Maybe that's just my preference for a classless system. I don't know. I don't care for classes anymore. Probably because every time I play a system with classes, my players are constantly asking me, okay, now what? And I have to explain their class progression. While with a classless system, I just look at them and say, what can you afford to get? But the combat system pretty well works like Power Rangers. Now, the combat and skill works like how Power Rangers or Wrath and Glory works, where it's based on skills rather than a character progression chart. I originally wanted to go into this, but I'm already nearing close to the 10-minute mark, so I'm going to cut that out, and I don't know, maybe I'll make another one in the future to explain that, but I honestly doubt there's going to be enough people caring about this. The system uses an evolving dice system, which I admit I have a soft place in my heart for it. I don't know why, I just like it when the dice get bigger and bigger and bigger, depending on how good you are at the skill. I like that this game puts less focus on classes, giving you more options, even if they're simply cosmetic in some cases. The fact that are classes at all is entirely unnecessary and would very much be a better game without it. But the fact that there's less involved with the classes is nice. All in all, I give this game about 89%. It's got some great fixes, and from where these games started, it still has one major negative that slaps it in the face, unfortunately. But now I've got to talk to some lawyers about Conqueror Creations, so shove off.